to learning about amino acids. So here we are going to talk about the structure of amino acids, what they are made up of, and basically they are the building blocks of proteins. So we say proteins are the building blocks of our body, but who is actually helping to form these proteins? It is these amino acids. So yet again, we come to a macromolecule which is made up of monomers. So that means a protein is made up of repeating units of these amino acids. We call these amino acids as organic molecules with carboxyl and amino group. So you can see over here, this is a general structure of an amino acid. In an amino acid, there will be a central carbon called the alpha carbon, and this alpha carbon is um, satisfied by a hydrogen, an R group, which is an alkyl group or a side chain, which keeps changing with the different amino acids. So there is a letter R given to represent any alkyl group that will fit here. It is also, this central carbon is also bonded with a carboxylic group. So we already have studied about carboxylic group in lipids. And now we see a new functional group called the amine group, which is found in the amino acids. So the amino acids are called so because it has an amine group along with a carboxylic acid group. So we say that these are the monomers of proteins. So when they join one after the other repetitively, they will form a long chain of protein. And therefore, we say that proteins are made up of carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, and a new addition of element happens here, that is nitrogen, which you can see in the amine group. So amino acids differ in their properties due to differing side chains or the R groups. Now, we must be studying soon now within a few slides that proteins are made up of different types of amino acids, and actually these different types of amino acids are different because of this R group. As the R group changes, the type of amino acid changes. The rest of the amino acid structure remains the same. Let's see some more information about amino acids. So we say that amino acids are amphoteric in nature. What does amphoteric actually mean? It means that an amino acid will behave both as an acid as well as a base. I'm guessing by now, because you just saw the structure of amino acid, you can gradually understand where we are going towards. So this amino acid has an amine group, which is a strong base chemically. It also has a carboxylic acid group, which is acidic in nature. Now what happens is, if you put this amino acid in an aqueous solution, that is, you dissolve it in water, the carboxylic group, being acidic, will become a proton donor or a hydrogen ion donor. So it will easily donate this hydrogen ion. Whereas the amine group will become a hydrogen accepting group because it's a base, it's basic in nature. So this is what actually happens. Let's see what happens over here. So this basic group is here in the amino acid, and the acidic carboxylic acid group is here. So the carboxylic acid, now that this amino acid is dissolved in water, it will give away its hydrogen to this amine group, and that will lead to an ionized amino acid now. Now this is no more a neutral molecule, it is ionized. Look, its carboxylic acid now has developed a negative charge because it's lost a hydrogen ion, and that hydrogen ion got added to the amine group. So the amine group gained a positive charge because it gained a proton over here. So overall, the net charge of this molecule would actually be 0 because it has equal positive and negative charge. Such kind of a molecule is called a Zwitter ion. A Zwitter ion will have at one particular pH, it will attain this kind of configuration where its positive and negative net charge will be equal. So the net charge becomes 0. Okay. So amino acids have the ability to become Zwitter ions because they can become amphoteric. So this group will behave like a base and this group will behave like an acid in this condition. So coming to different kinds of amino acid that we were talking about, there are 20 naturally occurring different kinds of amino acids. We classify them into two categories, that is amino acids that can be obtained by eating them in our food, in our diet or nutrition, and amino acids that our body gets by synthesizing or making it by ourselves. So amino acids which we can already make by ourselves are called the non-essential amino acids. You don't have to supplement them in your diet. And their names are given over here. You don't have to remember their names. You just have to know that there are some amino acids which your body can make by yourself. Whereas there are essential amino acids which your body cannot make and therefore needs to be supplemented through diet. So amino acids can also be classified in another criteria. The previous criteria we saw is whether your body can synthesize it or not. If not, then it is an essential. If your body can synthesize, it is a non-essential amino acid. But there is another basis of classification of amino acid, and that is the R group or the variable side chain. Can you think of different properties that the R group can have? You may pause the video and think aloud. Thank you for pausing. Let's see what are these different kind of R groups, because of which amino acids can also be classified into different types of amino acid. So the first type of amino acid that we'll study are the hydrophobic amino acids. Now, from the name itself, like I told you that the R group or the side chain is the key player over here. So all the amino acids will have a central carbon, a carboxylic ion group, and an amine ion group. Look, but what is different about them? What is different about them is the R group. In this glycine, the R group is just a hydrogen atom. But in alanine, the R group is a methyl group. In valine, the R group is a propyl group. In leucine, it is a butyl group. You can see 4 carbons are there, single bonded, and so on. This is also a butyl group, but the formation of the butyl chain is different. This is isobutyl, and this is not. This is a simple N-butyl. Now, at some places you will see that the R group will have a sulfur also. So this has a sulfide bridge or a bond. Sometimes you will see that the R group will have a ring attached or a double ring, or it can form a structure like this. But all of these R groups have one thing in common. They are all hydrocarbon chains, and we have recently studied in lipids that hydrocarbon chains are water hating. They move away from water. So therefore, all these amino acids will be hydrophobic in nature. The next type of amino acid will be, obviously now you can guess, the hydrophilic ones. Again see, their backbone structure, that is carbon, carboxylic group and amino group are same. But look at serines R group, threonines R group, cysteines R group. So these are the R groups which can easily form hydrogen bonding with water. Therefore, the whole amino acid behaves as a water-loving or hydrophilic amino acid. You can clearly see whenever there is a hydrogen associated with a more electronegative atom like sulfur or like oxygen, that hydrogen will be able to do a hydrogen bond with another water molecule or H2O. Cysteine is star marked over here because cysteine is another sulfur containing amino acid. So the second type of amino acid that we just studied are the water loving or hydrophilic amino acid. You can see that because they are water loving, they are polar. They form two opposite charges like a Zwitter ion. And either they are polar or they have a very electronegative atom like sulfur, because of which they can form a dipole and attract water molecules. If they attract water molecule means they are water loving. This is another type of hydrophilic amino acid, but this is hydrophilic because look at their R groups, aspartic acid, glutamic acid. The R groups itself have a charge or ionic nature. So either the R group is positively charged or negatively charged. So these three amino acids have an extra amine group. It's not this amine group, look. It's a extra amine group in the R or the side chain. This extra amine group gives a positive charge to the whole lysine. This extra carboxylic group is not same as the carboxylic group in the backbone of the amino acid. It gives an additional negative charge to glutamic acid. So any biomolecule or organic molecule that has charge on it or has developed a positive or negative charge will attract water because water itself has a dipole nature. It will get attracted to unequal distribution of charges. So these are also hydrophilic because the R groups are electrically charged. In the previous case, the R groups were hydrocarbon chains, but they could form hydrogen bonds. So in the previous hydrophilic amino acids, they are water loving because they can form hydrogen bond with the water. But these amino acids are water loving because they can form ionic bond with other hydrophilic amino acids, and they also have charge on them, so they can attract water. So with this we come to an end with the lesson on amino acids. So we learned about the structure of amino acid, we learned about why it is called amphoteric, and we learned about different ways of classifying amino acids: essential, non-essential, or hydrophilic, hydrophobic, or neutral, polar, non-polar amino acids. Thank you.